Join your palms. Close your eyes. Draw your attention in. Bring your spine upright. Release the limbs, arms, legs. Soften the breathing. So, as mentioned, place an image of this root teacher, Patanjali. Use your imagination to construct a picture of your perfect teacher. Life size. In front of you. So what does that perfect yogi look like? How does that yogi sit? Let the influence of that teacher touch you. So be like that teacher. Bow your head to this practice. Release your hands. Raise your head. And remove the image of Patanjali before you open your eyes. So he's in the room still. Stretch your legs. The influence. Adho Mukha Virasana, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Blankets only if needed underneath the buttocks to protect the knees, or underneath the shins to protect the feet, ankles. Toes together, knees apart. Sit well first. And then come forward, pressing the palms in order to kind of transmit weight back, staying on those hips, heels. Fold forward, rest your head. And then come up, turn your toes under, exhaling, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So what Patanjali would be looking for is completeness and evenness of action. Raising the heels in order to lengthen and connect more deeply to that spine. Now, come forward to half Uttanasana, Ardha Uttanasana, feet apart, bricks underneath your hands if you need them. The idea of half Uttanasana is, if you see this, here's dog pose and how straight and long the spine is. You want to preserve that length of the spine as you come forward, instead of letting it disappear just to keep your hands on the floor. The half pose is supported to preserve that length. As needed, come forward, bring the thighs to vertical, keeping the length of the spine. And continue lengthening it, pressing the heels to the floor. Stretch the leg up to the hip socket. Vertical Karen, keep coming in. Or walk the hands back, but keep the length. Come up onto bricks, Karen, just because of the hip to negotiate. I'm sorry, speaking of Karen Higgins, Karen Carpenter, you can do a bit more to lengthen the lumbars, but do it from the legs. Stretch your legs more. Get much more connected to that top thigh. And then from it, go back. Lengthen the front spine forward. All right. Relax a bit in ordinary Uttanasana, elbows bent. Don't give up the legs, just lengthen that spine. Some of you actually enjoy forward bend, so if you do, take hold of the ankles and lengthen the trunk farther. Not if this causes irritation, only if it feels helpful. All right, now it's time to come up. Keep your legs firm. Hands to the hips, roll the butt bones down as that chest comes up. Good. Now, Vrikshasana. Anybody? Oh, never mind. Vrikshasana. Take whatever support suits you. This is not. This is for balance when balance works. So I'm away from the wall, but if I just reach out, I've got something. Okay, so stand straight. There are people who have excellent reasons for keeping the feet apart. Notably, ease of breathing in the abdomen and chest. Also notably, hip or pelvic problems. So joining the feet is when things are going properly. Out of ties. Stand on the heels. Take your arms down and out. So just like the legs the arms extend away from the spine and skull, and the chest stays lifted. Take your arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Move the arms back. You can even help with one arm, pushing the other, giving support, and then lifting. Exhale, come out. Take your right foot up, way up. So you make this outer hip work a lot. And you're doing this, standing up, my standing leg. Watch this leg. Standing leg straight. It doesn't sway. Then place that heel as high as you can. Press it in. Stand on this leg straight. Stand on this foot, this leg. Measure these two groins from the corners of the pubis. Level the corners of the pubis. Stretch your arms. Take them up. Stand up, both legs. Don't be distracted. Breathe in between. Breathe down, breathe up, breathe out the limbs. Connect everything. And then stand down and take the arms down. If the breath is not connected, balance is more difficult. When the breath is connected, it's like you become one long tree. You're balanced. You can feel the root. You can feel the direction of growth. You can, what's happening is the prana of mind and body is moving in the right direction. It's not moving erratically. Breathe, organize. Take balance that helps give you a sense of direction. Then pick up that left foot. Use support as you need to. Be free of it if possible. Firm in this standing leg. Firm actually in the lifted leg. Expand yourself in this pose. And then fit the heel in. Connect constantly with this breath. There is a breath that pushes out the feet, legs. There is a breath that breathes down, a breath that breathes up, a breath that breathes the lungs, the throat, the head. Keep it connected. As you stretch the arms up, keep connecting down through both legs. stretch up, support those arms, get them back behind your ear and stretch up. You see the support. You see the support. Practice this, take it independently. Then get your breath in order and take a leg down, and then the arms down. Good. See, it stayed connected. Lovely. Catch your breath. Next pose is Parshva Konasana. So you may well need a brick for support, and it could be tall or medium or flat. Let me say, everybody start tall. Feel free as usual to use the wall. I encourage Gay to use the wall because of the tightness in the hips. It'll give you a sort of a straight edge, a ruler to gauge your, and actually lean on for hip support. So, right, it'd be, oh, can't see. There. You know, you keep your hip against the wall, and on the back leg side, that back heel gets very close to the wall, right? Front leg is close, but it's running parallel. Back heel is at the wall. Okay. So when you're coming into this pose, you come into it, sorry, and there's a brick on the instep. Okay. If I move, I bet I can. I come forward. That's better. I don't have a complete wall here. I do here, but you can see here. Okay. Back heel at the wall, front leg away. If you only have a partial wall, it has to brace your hip the whole time. So turn that front leg parallel to the wall, brace the back heel, and gauge that back thigh hip socket so the pelvis is level. Now move your back thigh back, bend your front knee parallel to the wall, lengthen your stance, Gay. Be upright. I'm not, this is me leaning. This is me upright. Lift your ribs, then come forward to that brick. And if necessary, push on that knee. Push on. You don't see the wall here, but don't worry. It's just like you want to feel like you can lever the knee more parallel to the wall. Then lift the ribs. That's one side of it. You're up tall. Lift the ribs. Roll the ribs. Bend the knee all the way. Okay, if you've got any more left in you, Support with that back heel, front heel. Lower the brick wherever you care to, but you've got to keep the ribs extended. Bend your knee, gay. Bend that knee. Now take the top arm up to the ceiling. Take your shoulder behind your ear and take the arm overhead behind. Sorry, I'll get on the floor so you can see that ear. And come up any way you care to. Trikonasana makes it easier.
Devon,
Okay.
when you're against the wall, do the two sides of the pelvis touch the wall equally?
If you, not equally.
Not equally.
And
okay.
usually not ever. But if you are someone like Ramana Patel, you can. If BK's Iyengar could. If you get a brick, a wood brick is how I learned it, but a foam brick is fine. We learned how to squeeze a brick with that back thigh at the wall and keep it there as the front knee bent, no hands, only femur bones. And if your heel is at the wall, it's no problem. If your heel is the width of the brick away from the wall, not your buttock, your hamstring, move your heel away from the wall. Good. Now put the brick behind your hamstring. Okay. And bend to Vira 2. Don't take the brick longwise, Emmy. Brick vertical. That's it. And keep rolling your whole trunk toward the wall. Oh, it's misery, isn't it? If you put your heel to the wall, it's doable for almost everybody. When you take the heel away, that's when it turns into just serious groin hip work. This is the necessary front hip opening of Uttanasana and back bends. If you feel this, what's happening in that back leg hip, please change sides. Some of you are, some aren't. Please change sides. Chaya, are you doing okay? Is it instructive or difficult? It's okay, good. It's difficult, but I think it's good for these hips. Strong, but good work. Okay. Turn that brick so it's running perpendicular. Here's your femur bone. Here's the brick. Don't run the brick parallel to your femur bone. Yes, turn that brick. That's it. And I strongly suggest you lift the brick. Lift it with your fingers so you're working. Yeah, stay there. Now bend your knee. Bend your right knee. Bend your right knee. Bend your right knee. Bend your right knee all the way, Karen, if you can. All the way, Chai, if you can. Remember, this goes through Vira 2 before it goes to Parshva Konasana. So you have to, this is strong leg strength, and it's focusing on that hip, how you have to stretch from the hip. So, Gay, if your left foot is too close to the wall and it's forced to if your hips are tight, and I'm exaggerating, if this back heel is too close to the wall, when you bend your knee, it forces the hip to turn, it just forces. So move your foot away from the wall, not that foot. You're still working with the brick on that foot, but move your front foot away from the wall and keep your back hamstring pinning that brick to the wall.
I cannot pin the brick to the wall. It just, there's too much space. It falls.
Can you do it here in Tadasana?
Yes, yes.
Okay, then when you take your feet apart, don't turn the legs, but keep that back thigh pinned and hold the brick behind that thigh, but pinned. Hold it with your fingers too, and leg. Now, whatever the other leg needs to do, meaning come away from the wall, right? Move that left foot toward me, and then, okay.
Got it.
Now you can keep your back heel, the brick, yes?
Yes, thank you.
Now, if you need to move your foot, left foot more toward me, do it in order to bend that knee. If the hip still makes trouble, yeah, there you go. You're having a pose now. Move your foot toward me if you need to, because you need to finish the knee bend. You have to bend more. Yes. Take your head down. Now, once you're bearing weight on that left hand, you can push harder through the right leg. All right. So you see the way in. Good. Also, you see the value of foam bricks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was
Okay.
very helpful to me.
That's what we call an angular pose, where the back foot is, if this is the line of the pose, the back foot is here, and the front foot is in a different line.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question, Devon. Instead of using the block
Right.
this way, can you use it this way?
Only if you're extremely tight.
Because for me, this high is almost impossible. I can't bend my front knee. I bend it just like this.
Then you do gaze work, you do the angular pose. Bring your left heel toward the camera. Yes.
And with like this.
Do you
Okay.
see? Do you feel it?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you use this for Trikonasana too? The same principle?
Yes, but it's quite difficult. I do want to go on.
Okay.
I want to move forward with class. We spent more time than I wish to with that, but it's a nice thing. No, okay, it's great. It's great. So we did this yesterday. Get a chair. Some of you did this yesterday. and put it in front of you, and you still have that wall at your back. So what you'll do is, here, see my heel is at the wall. You barely see it. And then my other foot goes another foot away. So this is 2 feet, and I just want to go 1.5 feet away from the wall. So I'm showing you with my feet because the camera isn't always very loyal in the visual distance. So 1.5 of your feet away from the wall. And that's where your heels are. And your buttocks rest on the wall. And do you see what I do? I lift my toes. And when I lift my toes, you can feel it. It lifts you. You go up. So take your hips up that high. Like move into that space that the lifted toes give you and fold forward. Toes still up. Keep trying to roll that flesh up. Then keep it up. This is the hard part. 1 foot at a time, take your toes down without losing the height of the pelvis. To do it, this front wall of the abdomen has to go in and stay lifting as those toes and the bones come down. Now, once the toes are down, ground the heel and the toes, lengthen the trunk, not anywhere but away from those buttock bones, and go forward. You may walk your chair, stretch your arms, keep pushing those feet and lifting that base of the pelvis from the front wall, from the left and right side of the pubis, lift, and then lengthen forward. Some of you with flexibility can take the hands onto bricks or even the floor, but keep the sense of extension. Bring the neck in line with the arms and spine. Good. Bring the chair in if necessary. Actually, the prime way to come up is to push your buttocks off the wall over your feet and then come up. Yeah, use your hands to push, make it an easy push. All right, so just briefly, an upside down pose. So you'll either do headstand for 2 minutes or you will do preparation for headstand without the head touching the floor for 2 minutes. So when you're ready, go up soon if you want to spend a little more time. There's a couple people still getting ready. So press through the forearms, lift the shoulders, So the extension of the arms is independent of the neck. The extension of the arm goes away from the neck and away from the skull. So it's going, that inner shoulder blade is going away from the skull. And all of those back muscles' intention is to help that arm extend. Measure the weight, Kathy Lindau. Measure the weight on the two forearms. And you may notice a difference. The lighter forearm should push harder. The leg on the heavier side, there you go. The leg on the heavier side pulls. There, you're fixing it. Ha ha. Don't go overboard. That was good. You figured it out. Come out, those who've been up 2 minutes. That was good. It's staying better, Kathy. Please come out. Okay. Virasana to Supta Virasana. So your version of that pose might involve a chair and a brick if you are a stiff person. Might involve a chair, beg pardon, and 2 bricks. One brick will support the buttocks at what we'll call the minimum height for a Supta Virasana on a chair. Those who are going lower, get yourself your bolster, your blankets. So those working on a chair, it's the back of the sternum. It's essentially the heart that needs support. You don't have to support your low back on this chair. Don't lean back on the low back. You have to get onto the back of the buttocks, instead of sitting on the buttock bones, you want to feel like you're sitting on your tailbone. And then you take this sternum region to the chair. It's a second block that supports your head. So this brick that's under your hips keeps you from dropping your buttocks. And it's a bit of a support. The arms go through and you extend. And if your chest opens enough, you can let go of that brick under the head and you'll be able to remain comfy, not stuck. And then you can just sit. Those hips got to come up, okay? Those hips way up. You have to be up on a tall brick. Then you have to tuck your buttocks so you feel like you're perched there on your tailbone. And then I bet your chair is going to move back a little bit. Hold on to the front chair legs and put just under your sternum on that chair. That's it. Now hold the top. That is it. I like this pose better. Stretch your shins, stretch your front thighs, lift your ribs, and absolutely relax the abdomen. If it cannot relax, you need a different pose, perhaps. Open out the length of the rib cage, the spine. Make sure you're pushing everybody with the shoulders onto your chair seat or bolster or blanket rather than the head. Do not push the head. Okay, come up, please. You can try Genge if you're getting somewhere. Tuck those buttocks. Now you got to be able to come on to the shoulders. I see you as being on your head. The shoulders gotta be, yes, on that chair. Yeah. There's an alternate next time. Next time I will show you, you have a chair that can be used for this. So, and you have two chairs. So that's perfect. I can show you a sukta. Did you disappear? No. Okay. Not now. All right. So come out, unkink that low back there, take a dog pose or something if it went sideways. Walk those feet further back, Gabe. Yeah. Then, when you have breathed your way back to some semblance of normal, come back out and sit on some support in swastikasana. One or two blankets. And may I say, put a brick or some kind of support behind you. Could be the blanket itself, but might also need a brick. And for those, and let me, a chair could also be helpful. I'll show from two sides. So sitting in swastikasana, turn to your right side. So use, if needed, use that brick behind you. Purpose of brick or support being, so you're turning to your right. The purpose of that support being to be able to bend this elbow, lift this arm. So a chair can be useful that way also. It might be too high for some. So you can lift the ribs and turn. Spend a bit of time there. feel free to, you don't want to freeze your position. So if the pose changes, you change with it. If you need to turn your palm out, turn your palm out. If you need to turn your head in a different direction, turn your head. When you discover more space, gently see if you can move into it. Come out slowly. And don't change the legs, change the arm, change the sides of the twist so it's still same leg crossing. Turn the other way. For me, it's this way. So you can start as you did before. In case it wasn't clear, make sure those buttock bones and legs are even on the floor. As you pull against that knee with your arm to lift the knee, it may make you feel like more of a twist is happening, and it may actually look like more of a twist is happening, but you need to keep that ground. You're also losing extension. So keep the ground and turn. Change to the palm out. Come out slowly. Change the, first stretch your legs, then change the crossing. Okay. So instead of, I'm going to go this way so you see I'm sitting on the floor. Okay. And so if you're flexible, sitting on the floor works. Sitting lower works, but lower, well, you'll see. You can't feel unbalanced and forward tipping. The weight has to stay on the hips. So I'm going to go forward, and I'm not trying to cross elbow outside the knee. I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to move along that leg and then kind of roll away from it to the center. Go with a bit of an angle. So this side, see it, it's actually coming to the center. And then I'm hanging on to it as I roll over it. Your head can look whatever direction it wants to, down or up. And then come out. Okay. Got to keep your buttocks down. If you feel tippy, your legs have to push. So if you are, because of tension in the hips, feeling tippy, you raise the floor in front of you so you're not going so far forward. So the floor is up now, an inch, half, which might be enough, but too blunt. Do you feel it, Karen? Makes it easier to stay grounded than if you hang on and pull on that sticky mat. You might get some extra ground. Okay, that helped Karen, raising the floor a bit. Yeah. Keep the hips grounded. wherever you're going with this. Lengthen that trunk. All right. Come out, please. Okay. With or without blankets, Upavishta Konasana. So blankets under the hips to make the legs able to straighten. Maybe, let me see, we're gonna do this on chairs because. Take a chair to the wall again. Here's the wall again. Then, and it doesn't have to be on a sticky mat because it's braced at the wall, but you should have a sticky mat on the floor in front of it. So you see this green mat stretching out wide in front of this chair. And then I've got a sticky mat on the chair seat because it pads and supports me. You could make it double thick or leave it single thickness, but it pads the front edge of the chair. Oh, and I think it's a great idea to get 2 bricks and put them in front of you. So here I am. You see me sitting on the chair, and I am not perched on my buttock bones on the edge of the chair. That would look like this. I'm actually sitting down that hamstring. I'm sitting so this is not quite the middle, but well down, definitely on the muscle. Now my feet go as wide as they can with my hamstring still on the chair. And then those feet spread out. So they get about 3.5, 4 feet apart. They're looking like this. Okay, good. So watch me when I do that. If I stay seated on my buttocks, my legs have to be bent. When I straighten my legs, those buttocks are now off the chair. Is that true of you? You should feel like you're standing on your thighs. Okay, go forward to the bricks. Stand on your thighs on the chair and lengthen your trunk however you like, forward. Lower the bricks if they go down. Your idea is to go forward as much as you care to, but keep that pressure on that hamstring. Keep pushing the hamstring. Stand on the hamstring, keep your toes up, point your toes to the ceiling in line with those knees. Don't let the leg twist. It's from the hip gate, but that looks really good, actually. Doesn't it feel like a decent forward bend? Yeah. Now, walk your bricks back in and come up by pressing those thighs. Once your spine is upright, bend the knees and sit. Okay, so that's a hamstring helper, Prasarda Padottanasana. And it helps the, I hope your low back was happy about this. Yeah, good. So, lovely. Now, join the legs. Join the feet. You're back on that middle hamstring. So let's say your feet are separated hip width or less. Okay. Same pose. Press these thighs. You might even do this with your hands because it helps take some weight off this low back. Lift your ribs, keep those legs working, go forward to bricks. And continue forward as you're able. Don't go beyond. Don't go into the realm of ambition, which is future minded. Stay right where you are, pressing those thighs and seeing how you are connected. The opening of the pose is going to come from connection and the persistence of the connection. The exploration of the connection. Now, come up. And bend the knees and sit back down. All right. Now, come to the floor with a strap. And a blanket if you need it as a head support. I think everybody should have a blanket for eventually. A blanket is a good idea. Okay, so you're just lying on your back. And again, if you like neck support, take. So settling. Take a small strap around your foot. Take that leg up. Keep your trunk. How shall I say this? It's got this shape, right? The pelvis is square, shoulders are square. It's a rectangle, three-dimensional, right? It's got depth, but it is a geometric form and it is symmetrical. So when you put this little strap around your foot and stretch the leg up, don't lose the symmetry of that form. Keep the outer hip square. And that's the easy part. The difficult part is to keep the inner symmetry. It won't necessarily feel exactly the same, but it's got to be breathable. And then you stretch the left leg. And you really have to use the right leg to get back to breathability. And the leg goes off to the side. All the while you're pulling with the strap to keep it easy. And pursue the symmetry of the container. Inhale, come up. Change sides. Start with the knees bent for a second. Then left leg vertical. Then the right leg stretches, so you work by stages. And your own asymmetries show up in your effort either to attain the stage, right? Straighten your leg, or maintain the stage. Then off you go to the side. Supta Padangusthasana 2. Keep the container square. The breath is going to rearrange itself to accommodate, but you keep that container open and breathing. And up you come and out. 2 knees bend, then 2 legs straight. So you let those groins open. Now, I probably should have said get a brick also, because you're going to wind up in Setu Bandha. So a brick, and it's going to stand vertically, and it will eventually go under the hips. For the moment, you make your strap large, that loop enormous, and put your feet through it, hip width. And then you just pull, if you can see this, the front part of this loop through to the back. And now it's like you have one. You put the loop around both feet, and then you pull the front backwards, and that gives you a catchable loop around each ankle separately, which is quite useful. So hold right next to that ankle and straighten your arms and make your arms like very firm sticks and press them down. Press the shins like sticks firmly against the floor and raise the hips. So your hamstring, it was pushing on that chair seat earlier, has to wake up right here, and it has to, instead of pushing on the chair seat, it does something that chair seat did, which is pull toward your buttock bone. Move that hamstring toward your buttock bone. Press your arms down, press your feet down. Come and rest. Rest. You're going to do it once more with me watching closely. So catch that strap and pull with the wrist and the shoulder down on the floor. Press the feet down. Raise up with the ribs from pushing the arms. Raise up with the hips from pushing the feet. Wake up those hamstrings and move them toward the buttock bones, coming up higher. Now, everybody come up off your heels, which is going to raise your ankle, shins, knees. You just got taller, right? Now, with that height, raise your hips more. Press your arms down so you get more height in the hips. Lift those hips with your shins tall and your big toes reaching to the floor. Now you got to figure out how to keep your hips that high. Put a brick underneath them. Tall brick. Shins high. Tall brick. And then sit your hips on the tall brick. Press your arms. Press your wrists. And begin to lower your heels as if you still want that hip up, that hamstring alert. Soften the abdomen. Now relax things. Relax the buttocks, the hamstrings, the legs. Undo the crampy hamstring. Lift your ribs. Roll those shoulders. Now, if you want to stretch your legs out, just keep opening that spine. Shoulders down. So it looks like a blanket. Yeah, shoulders got to ground to a blanket or the floor. Don't exceed your capacity. It could help sometimes to stretch one leg at a time, but keep that pelvis balanced on the brick. Watch where you put the other leg. Watch the shoulders. Doing okay, Gail? Gay? Yes? Okay. Soft throat, soft head. When you can move into the space that this pose offers, it becomes restful. Come out, please, one thing at a time. And when you remove the brick, keep the hips up for a few moments. So you let your own musculature re-knit those joints. Then lower the hips and let your spine settle. If anybody is continuing with practice, steer clear of actual Shavasana. Those who have finished practice, lie flat. Get a blanket if you need to. So your continuing practice is sort of up to you for the next bit, but no Shavasana if you're keeping up practice. You could keep up with Supta Padangusthasana. I don't know. So those in Shavasana, let go everything. So there's, you might say, bhakti form of Shavasana, which I find quite lovely. Imagine a loving mother who holds her beloved child in her lap. And that child in the lap of the mother is completely secure and taken care of, knows no worry, rests at peace. In your Shavasana, it might help to imagine yourself as you are now, resting in the lap of your beloved. The security, the support, the nourishment, the teaching. So there is this feeling of being in the arms, the care of God. It is time. Bring yourselves back. Okay. So I will either allow you to stay in your Shavasana, or I will join my palms and say Namaskar